Here are the most recent deaths in the national news as reported at Legacy.com in the third week of August 2026. I'm your host, Linnea Crowther. I'm the news editor at Legacy.com, where you can read full obituaries for most of the people featured in this video and leave your own condolences on their Legacy page. Musician Frank Beard died August 17, 2026 at his ranch in Richmond, Texas at the age of 77. He was the longtime drummer for ZZ Top, and his powerful backbeat was the driving force behind hits like LaGrange, Gimme All Your Lovin', and Legs. Beard is being remembered as, ironically, the only member of ZZ Top who didn't have a beard. Businessman Bill Rasmussen died August 18, 2026 at his home in Land O'Lakes, Florida. He died of complications from Parkinson's disease at the age of 93. He and his son, Scott Rasmussen, had an idea for a 24-hour cable sports network, and they turned that idea into reality as the founders of ESPN. He is being remembered as a visionary who helped change the face of television. Rasmussen was a U.S. Air Force veteran who served as a supply officer. Actress Phyllida died in August 2026 at the age of 94. She had many roles on British TV, including in The Sarah Jane Adventures, Kingdom, and Midsummer Murders. Law is also being remembered as the mother of actresses Emma Thompson and Sophie Thompson, with whom she appeared in movies like Much Ado About Nothing and The Winter Guest. Football player O.J. Brigance died August 17, 2026 of complications from ALS at the age of 56. He was a linebacker for the Miami Dolphins, Baltimore Ravens, and other teams, and he helped the Ravens to victory at Super Bowl 35, scoring the game's first tackle. Brigance is also being remembered for working as the director of player development for the Ravens for more than 20 years, even as he bravely fought ALS. Baseball player Tommy John died August 15, 2026 at his home in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. He died of bladder cancer at the age of 83. He was a pitcher for the New York Yankees, Los Angeles Dodgers, and other teams in the 1960s through 80s, including 4 All-Star appearances. John is being remembered for the pioneering surgery he underwent in 1974 to repair an injury to his pitching arm. The procedure is now known as Tommy John surgery. Filmmaker and actor Mark Rydell died August 13, 2026 at a nursing facility in Los Angeles at the age of 97. He was Oscar-nominated as the director of the beloved film On Golden Pond. He also directed The Rose, For the Boys, and others. Rydell is also being remembered for his acting performances in movies and TV shows like The Long Goodbye and As the World Turns. Actress and comedian Christy Knowings died August 11, 2026 at a Los Angeles area hospital. She died at the age of 46 after suffering a severe asthma attack. She was a cast member of All That in the 1990s and 2000s, starring with Kenan Thompson, Amanda Bynes, and others on the sketch comedy show for kids. Knowings is also being remembered for her appearances on Sesame Street alongside her twin brother Chris Knowings. Musician Derry Brownson died August 13, 2026 of a brain tumor at the age of 55. He was the founding keyboardist for EMF, who had a big hit in 1991 with Unbelievable. Brownson is being remembered for his fun-loving spirit with the band in the 90s and in more recent reunions. Reality TV personality Tyler Duckworth died in August 2026 at the age of 44. A cause of death has not been announced. After initially appearing on The Real World Key West in 2006, he competed in 6 seasons on MTV's spin-off series The Challenge, winning twice. Duckworth is being remembered as a fan favorite and a formidable competitor. Singer Ruby Andrews died August 13, 2026 at the age of 79. She had soul hits in the 1960s and 70s, including Casanova, Your Playing Days Are Over, You Made a Believer Out of Me, and Everybody Saw You. Andrews is being remembered as a beloved member of the Chicago soul community who was inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame. Football player John Niland died August 15, 2026 at his home in McKinney, Texas at the age of 82. He was an offensive guard for the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles in the 1960s and 70s, anchoring the Cowboys' offensive line as they beat the Miami Dolphins in Super Bowl VI. Niland is also being remembered for his All-American college career at the University of Iowa. Singer Nikki Ross died August 14, 2026 at the age of 52. A cause of death has not been announced. She was a gospel singer from Houston whose beloved songs include There Is No Way, He's Been Just That Good, and Sunday Kinda Love. Ross is being remembered as a gospel icon who collaborated with musicians like Kirk Franklin, Ricky Dillard, and Gladys Knight. TV host, singer, and songwriter Johnny Young died in August 2026 of pancreatic cancer at the age of 79. He had pop hits in his home of Australia in the 1960s, including Step Back, When Will I Be Loved, and All My Loving. Young is also being remembered as the host of the long-running Australian variety show Young Talent Time. Actress Peggy Weber died August 15, 2026 at an independent living facility in Napa, California. She died of natural causes at the age of 100. She was widely heard on radio, including frequent appearances in Dragnet, and she was seen in Orson Welles' film adaptation of Macbeth and in the Alfred Hitchcock film The Wrong Man. Weber is also being remembered as an early scream queen for her performance in the 1958 horror movie The Screaming Skull. Author John Crowley died August 8, 2026 at his home in Conway, Massachusetts. He died of complications from dysphagia and dementia at the age of 83. He won a World Fantasy Award for his 1981 novel Little Big, and 2018's Ka, Dar Oakley and the Ruin of Ymir was also nominated. Crowley is also being remembered for such works as Engine Summer, Beasts, and The Solitudes. Actress Hayden Panettiere died August 16, 2026 at the age of 36. A cause of death has not been announced. She starred on TV in Heroes as cheerleader and superhero Claire Bennett, then was Golden Globe nominated for her performance in Nashville as country singer Juliette Barnes. Panettiere is also being remembered for her work in such movies as Remember the Titans, Bring It On All or Nothing, Ice Princess, and the Scream series. Next month will mark 25 years since the tragedy of September 11, 2001. You probably don't know this, but Legacy was just a startup back then, and our first huge responsibility was building the very first online memorial site in honor of the people who died that day. Over the years since then, millions of people have visited, and hundreds of thousands of you have continued to leave your own personal thoughts, memories, and tributes. In honor of the anniversary, this week we've redesigned and relaunched our September 11 Memorial. It's a living, growing tribute space where people's stories and legacies remain alive for future generations. You can find it today at Legacy.com. We've also just published a behind-the-scenes video about how the memorial was created, and you can watch that next here on our channel. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 5 years ago this week, musician Charlie Watts died at the age of 80. For 58 years, he was the drummer for the Rolling Stones, playing on #1 hits from It's All Over Now to Angie to Start Me Up and beyond. 25 years ago this week, singer and actress Aaliyah died at the age of 22. Just 15 years old when she had her first hit single, she followed it with beloved songs like Are You That Somebody and Try Again, as well as with acclaimed performances in such movies as Romeo Must Die. Musician Keith Moon was born 80 years ago this week. He died in September 1978 at the age of 32. He was the drummer for The Who in their hit-making era of the 1960s and 70s, playing on classic tracks like My Generation, Pinball Wizard, and Baba O'Reilly. TV host Regis Philbin was born 95 years ago this week. He died in July 2020 at the age of 88. He was known as the hardest working man in show business for his busy career, which included hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, and America's Got Talent. Actress Nancy Kulp was born 105 years ago this week. She died in February 1991 at the age of 69. She starred as Miss Jane Hathaway in the Beverly Hillbillies, and her many movies included Shane, Sabrina, and The Parent Trap. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of Appomattox County Deputy Burley W. Duval III, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Virginia have also been lowered to honor the memory of Delegate Floyd H. Miles, Sr. Flags in Nevada have been lowered to honor the memory of Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officer Austin Abdelnabi, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Wyoming have been lowered to honor the memory of Ann Simpson, wife of the late former U.S. Senator Alan Simpson. Flags in Colorado have been lowered to honor the memory of State Representative Lois Landgraf. Flags in Michigan have been lowered to honor the memory of Detroit firefighter Patrick Trout, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Minnesota and Alaska have been lowered to honor the memory of wildland firefighter Leslie R. Washington, who died while fighting the wildfires in the Superior National Forest. Flags in Louisiana have been lowered to honor the memory of Technician 5th Grade Gurney J. Richard, U.S. Army Air Forces, who died as a prisoner of war in the Philippines during World War II. His remains were recently identified and returned home for burial. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. Follow Legacy.com on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.